My brothers and sisters in Christ, today's gospel parable of the rich man and Lazarus is a call for us to stop procrastinating. In this story, we hear the contrast between the rich man, who represents all the good things of this life. In a sense, he's doing very well from his attention to himself, and yet we see that he is oblivious to the plight of the man on his own doorstep. And so in his encounter with Abraham after he dies, once he sees the truth of things, not only his sorry state, but also that now Lazarus can be of help to him, he asks Abraham to send messengers to his brothers so that they might avoid his same fate. And when Abraham says they have the law and the prophets, "Oh no, Father Abraham, but if someone from the dead were to visit them." And of course, when Abraham answers, no, if the law and prophets aren't enough for them, even someone visiting them from the dead will not make a difference. It's a clear reference to the disbelief that will endure with the heart of heart even after the resurrection of Jesus. We get that. That's the surface level meaning of it. However, it also shows us that we tend to procrastinate, which is we always have an excuse why we don't do what we ought to do. Why don't I pray enough? Well, I've been busy. There's just been so many things going on. But, tomorrow or next week or this, when this changes, it'll be better and my prayer life will get on track. Or I'll care about this less, or, I'm waiting for a sign. Then I'll react. Then I'll do what God says. I just need a sign of some kind. And in fact, we create these excuses, this next day, next week, or after a sign, as a way to avoid actually having to move or act. And when our heart is oriented this way, that next day never comes. There's always something else. Instead, as we see in this season of Lent, this is the time where we have to make time. We need to clear out the clutter to make room for God. And the reason why it is most important is found in the wisdom of Teresa of Calcutta. Teresa of Calcutta, Mother Teresa, is of course most famous for her great charity to the sick, the poor, the homeless, those dying. But fewer pay attention to what that was rooted in. And it was linked, and this was fundamental for those in her order of the Sisters of Charity, is that the work for the poor had to be rooted in the time of contemplative prayer. Why is that? Because Teresa of Calcutta said that her time before the Lord helped her to recognize him more readily. Due to her time and her feeling the thirst of Jesus, present in the Most Blessed Sacrament and the tabernacle, feeling Jesus sacramentally present in her intimate time with the Lord, she began to recognize him in his, as she called it, his most distressing disguises, in the poor, and the sick, and the homeless. And so we think of Matthew 25, the last judgment, Lord, when did we see you hungry or homeless or in prison, a stranger? What you did for the least of these, you did for me. Jesus is with us constantly, but as long as our eyes are more attentive to what we care about, our own concerns ourselves, then we will continue to be oblivious to Lazarus on our doorstep. And in fact, we'll be oblivious to the presence of Christ right in front of our nose. But if we avail ourselves of this time, if we stop procrastinating, not tomorrow, not next week, not when my schedule clears, but right now, I make the Lord my priority, then I will suddenly see that he's constantly in front of my face. In the Eucharist at Mass, in the tabernacle, in everyone I meet, and even dwelling in me. Once we recognize the presence of Christ all around us and in one another, then nothing else can be more important. My brothers and sisters, let's stop procrastinating and get to work on what is most important for us in this season of Lent. Not our work even, but the work that God desires to do in us. May God bless you all.